Going on? Welcome to Q&A number 6, I think it is, where you get to ask me any kind of nutrition questions, fitness, health, workout stuff, any kind of questions you have regarding to those topics, and I do my best to kind of answer all of them. And if you have a question, I almost can guarantee that somebody else has the same exact question. So by asking me a question, you effectively help somebody else, get the answers to the problems or the questions that they have for themselves. And if you're watching me on live right now, just type live down in the comments below, or if you're watching this video at a later time on the replay, just type replay down below so I know you saw this video afterwards and you got this information. And go ahead and ask me any kind of questions you have in the chat. I have a chat pulled up right here, so I see all of your questions. I'll pick the best ones or as many as I can get to and answer them to the best of my abilities. What's up, Michelle? Good afternoon, Robin. Any questions you have regarding weight loss, fitness, nutrition, working out, that kind of stuff. Do a little midweek Q&A to keep you going. Christopher asks, so literally all the cardio you did was walking? Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I tried like the Stairmaster, I guess the bike, which is the bike is awesome too. I tried also like the elliptical, jogging. I hated it. I gave up very quickly, and after that point, I just started walking as the only source of doing cardio. And the weather's actually beautiful today. I'm about to go for a walk after this Q&A and continue with that streak. Yeah, so walking is extremely underrated. It's extremely effective, and one of the biggest misconceptions or biggest things I hear people say all the time is I don't feel like walking is doing much of anything, or I don't feel like walking is doing that much because I'm not sweating that much. My heart rate's not through the roof. So I'm not going to walk anymore because it's not effective. That's completely wrong because you burn calories either way. It's not going to, walking is not going to burn as many calories as running for 18,000 miles or jogging or going for, a swim. Sure, it's not, but it's consistent. It's sustainable. It doesn't beat you up. It's very doable. It's very manageable, especially for somebody that's overweight or obese like I was. If I was to start running or jogging or doing crazy high intensity cardio from the beginning, I probably would have injured myself or gave up because it wasn't sustainable. So walking is absolutely underrated. It's extremely effective, and it's one of the most sustainable forms of doing cardio. People say that, oh, why don't you go for a bike ride or for a swim? Yeah, it's a great choice, but it's not as easily accessible. Who has a lake, an ocean, or a pool always accessible to them? Very few people, but most people can go for a walk at any time, anywhere, and just get it done. Vacation, at home, anywhere. So walking is extremely important. It's extremely sustainable, and it's very, very not overrated, underrated. So hopefully that answers your question, Christopher. What's up from Vermont? You're waiting for a transplant and you need to lose weight, and this is so helpful. Yeah, listen, if you want to lose weight because you're waiting for a surgery or something like that, hopefully these videos provide value to you. Ask me any kind of questions you may have that hopefully it will help you, get onto the journey that you want to be on to be healthier, maybe lose weight if that's kind of your goal as well. How do you keep motivated when you don't think things are moving? I made a video about this on Monday about motivation. And motivation is a very, it's a feeling, right? And people search for motivation all the time. And that's why they end up just shooting themselves down in the foot or shooting themselves down because it's not realistic. You will not be motivated most of the time. Probably 95% of the time, you will not be motivated. So if you search for motivation, you may find it, but you will not search for it and achieve it every single time. So what you have to do is create habits that create momentum for yourself. If I was to tell you that I was motivated while losing over 130 pounds every single day, I'd be lying to your face. I did not want to do things that I want to do. Right now, I don't want to do all the things that I want to do, but I've created a foundation of habits, non-negotiable habits that help me reach my goal and help me actually maintain my progress or move forward. So motivation is not something that you have to try to achieve, aim for, or try to find. If you're motivated one day out of the month, a few days out of the month, absolutely use that to the best of your abilities. Do all the things that you want to do and then some. But what do you do when motivation isn't there? 28 days out of the month when you don't feel like doing anything. The weather's absolute trash. You don't want to eat right. You feel bloated. You stubbed your toe in the corner of your bed in the morning because you're getting up to go to work or whatever. Now you don't want to do anything. What are your non-negotiable habits that you stick to every single day that keep pushing you forward and that keep you on the right track? That's what's most important. Motivation is not going to be there, so you have to get away from the mentality of wanting to feel motivated and search for the habits, create the habits that will keep that momentum going. Hopefully that explains it. What's up, Hillary? So you had a baby eight months ago. You want to lose weight, and you want to tighten up and tone. How do you do this? The first thing I would say is to take things slowly, set realistic expectations for yourself. You may have a certain amount of weight to lose. I'm not sure how much that is. Um, and you may want to lose a whole bunch in a very short period of time. I would say that's the wrong mentality. I would say aim for a bit of weight loss every week because that's going to be more sustainable and it will put less pressure on yourself to reach these unrealistic expectations of yourself. For example, if you lose 5 or 6 pounds a week, yeah, I mean, in the short, zoomed in picture, it's amazing, right? But it's not sustainable once you zoom out. You know, I would aim for a single pound of weight loss per week. Eat a bit better. Eat more fruits and vegetables. Eat more lean proteins. Make sure your snacks are manageable. Make sure that your snacks are, volume snacks. Instead of potato chips, maybe you want to eat more fruits, stuff like that. Get an adequate amount of water every single day. Not a specific amount, but an amount that keeps you, hydrated, but not going to the bathroom every 20 minutes. Maybe work out twice a week, 3 times a week. If that's not your thing, go for a walk or for a bike ride a couple of times a week, but make sure you're consistent in doing that. And if you take these small steps, you start creating that momentum that will keep pushing you forward without putting so much pressure on your shoulders to meet these crazy expectations that you may have set for yourself. What's the best way to lose belly fat? There is no best way to lose belly fat. The best way to lose belly fat is to lose fat everywhere by being in a caloric deficit, strength training, maybe going for a bit of cardio. And once you lose fat everywhere, your belly fat will also drop down in weight. There's no spot reduction. There is no wraps. There's no detoxes, cleanses. There's no jiggly machines that you can do to actually burn the fat or zap it away. It's complete nonsense. Don't buy into it. If you've already bought that, try to return it. It's completely garbage. It does not work. You have to lose fat everywhere because as you lose fat everywhere, you lose fat in your belly. Hopefully that explains it. Yeah, walking hills is amazing. Adds an extra intensity level to regular walking. What's up, Joe? Joe is getting started next Monday. I'm really excited to work with Joe. He's going to absolutely crush it. What's the best way for a woman to lose weight during menopause? The best way for a woman to lose weight during menopause is the way that you would lose weight when you're not in menopause. It's just that you might need to eat less calories and stuff like that. Your calories still matter. It's just about eating the right amount for you. So your metabolism may have changed. Maybe you need to eat less calories to sustain your weight, but calories still matter. You have to understand your required caloric intake to maintain your body weight, right? Once you understand that, now you can eat a bit less to lose some weight. What's up, Rachel? Lewis says, my wife and I started walking twice a week. Now we're increased it to 3 times a week. I'm slowly filling my stamina. Yeah, listen, if you have a spouse, you want to walk with him or her, you got a dog you want to take for a walk, make it interesting, put in the podcast, put in some music, maybe a show, and just go for a walk. Make it less boring for yourself, but you have to understand the importance of doing less over a longer period of time. Everybody wants to do more in a shorter period of time because they want to go headfirst into the wall, hope it sticks, hope that it's sustainable, and they end up failing because it's not. They do way too much. Whereas somebody else may have done less, but more consistently, that person will actually stay in the right path and reach their goal. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if this mic is actually working because I kind of clipped it on. It's a little weird. Drop a fire emoji if this mic is actually working. Yeah, motivation is definitely a feeling. It's very short-lived. If you feel motivated today, just know that you're probably not going to feel motivated tomorrow. So it's better to understand the kind of habits that you should make that will keep pushing you forward. Your non-negotiables, things that you do every day that push you a bit closer towards your goals without doing too much. What are some foods to help target stomach fat? There is absolutely no foods that help target stomach fat, arm fat, shoulder fat, left chest fat, nothing like that. There's absolutely no foods, there's no workouts to help target anything. It's all about losing fat everywhere, because you can only lose fat everywhere because you can't spot reduce fat. It doesn't happen that way. However, some people tend to hold on to more weight in certain parts of their bodies. Men, sometimes it's a lower back fat, the love handles, maybe the lower belly. But it's genetics. You can't do anything about that. But you will still have to lose fat everywhere to lose fat where you hold on to fat mostly. So it's all about, you can't spot reduce fat. I wish you could, but there absolutely is no way unless you get lipo. But that's a whole different thing. Which is better for you to eat, white rice or brown rice? I love that question because I do not like brown rice. I only eat it if there's nothing else on the table, which is rare. I love jasmine rice. That's my thing. I do not like brown rice. It doesn't mean that brown rice is bad or white rice is good, or the opposite. They both have different nutrients. They actually are very similar in nutrients. Brown rice may be a tiny bit more filling, but you got to look at it. What do you dislike doing less? I like eating white rice. There's nothing bad about white rice. They're both very similar in nutrients, very, very, slightly different, but it's about what you enjoy, because calories matter at the end of every single day. It's about the average caloric intake. And the difference between brown rice and white rice is negligible. It's not that important. And focusing on these details, these tiny details, and making them to be bigger than they need to be is, it's like the saying paralysis by analysis. You start analyzing all these different things, you start getting kind of frustrated, and you get nowhere because you start to analyze all these details. These details don't really matter that much, not as nearly as much as people think they do. So for me, I don't like brown rice. I eat it very, very rarely. I like jasmine rice. That's my thing. Do I recommend any post-workout creatine or supplements for soreness going through a really ugly issue? As far as post-workout supplements, creatine does not do anything post-workout. As long as you take 5 grams of creatine every day, it will get absorbed into your muscles and into your body, and it'll do its thing. As far as soreness after a workout, the best thing to do for soreness is to rest and eat an adequate amount of calories, because you have to feed your body to actually recover properly. So just rest, maybe take a bath. Maybe you want to do some active recovery. Maybe go for a walk because your legs are so sore. Once you get some blood flowing into that muscle area that's actually sore, it'll get a bit less sore. And that's active recovery. As far as supplementations for soreness, no. I mean, soreness should not be something to aim for in the first place, because soreness isn't an indicator of actual muscle improving, growing, getting stronger. Soreness is just a new stimulus. So if you currently have a trainer that's always pushing you to the limit because, oh, you're going to feel this tomorrow, you got to feel sore. If you feel sore, it's working. Drop that trainer. It's not the right mentality. Soreness is not an indicator of growth. The indicator of growth is actually your muscle growing, getting stronger. Maybe you did the same amount of weight for an additional rep. Maybe you did the same amount of weight for an additional set. Maybe you did the same 10 reps you did last week, but now it's with 5 extra pounds. That is your muscle growing and improving and getting stronger, not feeling sore. You can go do a random exercise that you've never done before in your life in a different angle and you will feel sore. Does that mean you're actually getting the muscle is growing and getting stronger? No, it's just a new stimulus in a different angle, targeting the muscle in a bit different way. It's not as clear cut as that. You have to grow the muscle by making it stronger gradually over a longer period of time. Keep asking me questions. If you're getting any value from this video so far, drop a fire emoji down below. It helps the algorithm. It helps get this video out to more people, and just helps me out as well to get this people to as many eyeballs as possible. Tightening and toning. How? You can't really tone. Tone is a very it's not real. Toning does not exist. The way to tone, we think, it comes down to 2 different variables. It's to increase the muscle, reduce the fat. When you increase the muscle, and reduce the fat, I don't know if this is making any sense what I'm doing with my hands, but if you increase the muscle and reduce the fat, you will look more toned because it goes muscle, fat, and skin. Fat is between the skin and the muscle. If you reduce the fats, the muscle will get pushed closer to the skin and it will just appear more. That's what you probably mean as far as toning. That's what you want to achieve. And the only way to tone up is to increase the muscle by strength training and reducing the fat percentage of your overall body. If once you do that, you're going to find that you look more toned, you get more, maybe more vascular a little bit, maybe a bit more toned, your muscle will pop out a bit because you reduce your body fat percentage, which reduce that layer of fat between the skin and the muscle, and it kind of closed the gap a bit to where you see your muscle, which is over here, a bit more. That's all it is. Keep asking me questions down below. I get to as many people as I can. And if you ask me a question, it's very likely that somebody else had the same exact question that also wants to ask it, but probably isn't asking it. So you're trying to lose weight, and you're at the point of you're not losing weight, but you're losing inches. What can I do? Absolutely nothing. Nothing. If you're losing inches but not losing weight, you're doing the exact right thing. You shouldn't change anything because what you're doing is working perfectly well for you. Because if you only gauge your progress by the number on the scale, you will feel defeated and like you're doing something wrong, which is why it's important to take measurements. Maybe try on different clothing that didn't fit before. Maybe it's progress photos, because the scale may not budge sometimes, but your body composition may change. Maybe you gain, I don't know, if you're first starting out, you gain a few pounds of muscle the first few months, but the scale is not going to change, even though you've lost some fat and you gain some muscle. So your scale, it kind of tilts a bit as far as your body composition, but the scale remains the same. That's amazing. You have to understand that progress is made in different areas, different by different means. It's not, if you only went off the scale, it would just completely disregard every other area of progress that you're making, and all the other things besides the scale is what actually matters. As far as your food relationship, how maybe you're not feeling as guilty anymore about eating something. That's a huge progressive change that the scale or measurements will never gauge. Maybe how much stronger you're getting. It's all important, not just the scale. And I used to live by the scale. Don't get me wrong. I used to have my weight define me, and every time the scale didn't meet my expectations of myself, I felt defeated, and that kept me plateaued for years. So you don't want to be in that kind of mindset. Yeah, I absolutely love jasmine rice. Do I eat root vegetables? I eat all vegetables. Everything. Did I notice women paying more attention to me once I lost your weight? Absolutely. And it's a fact. Um, I never got any female attention before my weight loss. Not only because of my weight loss, but because I'm a very um, not laid back, but I'm a very closed off person. I'm very what's that word? Introverted, extremely introverted. You may see me on the camera and stuff, but the first time I pressed record on the camera, it took me 3 hours to press it. I'm terrible at social speaking, or I was before I started doing this more often. I was extremely introverted, which affected how females looked at me because I was always reserved. I never spoke out. I sat in the back of a classroom. I just didn't want to be seen. But as I lost the weight, I started to maybe engage more in social activities. I started speaking more. I wasn't always sitting down in the back of the bus, the subway, the classroom, the job area. So I was putting myself out there a bit more, and that helped with more female attraction as well. Because if you're just kind of put yourself back in every situation and you don't want to be seen, how will females show you attention? Because you just don't want to be seen. You don't make it easier for yourself. So in that regard, it did help me, but that was my personal experience. So it may be different for you. I know of a lot of overweight men that get a ton of female attention because their personality, they're more outgoing, but that wasn't me. It still isn't me. What to take after weight training, protein shake or eggs? I mean, after a weight training, you don't have to take anything. The whole myth about you have to drink a protein shake 20 minutes after a workout because your protein window is going to close is complete nonsense. I mean, as long as you have protein constantly in your system throughout the day, digesting, absorbing, you'll do fine. I mean, for me, I have some like fruit after a workout, maybe a fruit, like maybe like a Greek yogurt or something, but it's not that important. If you're hungry, I would say eat something. You know, you always want to make sure if you're in a weight loss phase, the sensation and the time it takes to eat the food matters a lot more than, for example, a chicken breast versus a protein shake. The chicken is going to be a better choice because it'll take you longer to eat it. It'll be more satiating and it'll keep you fuller for longer, which will help your weight loss overall. Yeah, I eat all vegetables. Yeah, toning up is it's a cool word, but it's not that. There's no such thing as toning up. It's about managing different variables, fat loss, muscle gain, and once those two combine in the right ratios, you'll see results. How do I break down calorie intake by carbs and fats? Listen, I keep it very, very simple. I have a certain amount of calories that I eat throughout the day. Right now, it's about 24 or 2,500 for myself because I'm in a weight loss phase, trying to lose a few pounds to look a bit better for myself. And as far as protein, the way that I do it, I eat anywhere from zero point 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. If you're a bit more overweight, I would say to not do per pound of body weight. I would recommend to do it by part of lean body weight. But for me, I eat about 240 grams of protein per day. And that's 200 times 4, whatever that comes out to be, about 1,000 or so. The rest of the calories, I eat whatever else I want. So if I have like 1,500 calories left and I want to eat some ice cream, I eat some ice cream. I eat some cookies. Maybe I want to eat more protein. Maybe I want to eat some peanut butter on a rice cake or peanut butter oatmeal. Maybe I want to go out and have some McDonald's, which I never do. But if I wanted to, I could do that. Once my protein is met, the other calories from the carbs and the fats, I don't really, pay too much attention to. I keep it very simple. My goal is sustainability. I want to do this for the rest of my life. And if I was to count calories meticulously every single day, I know myself, I wouldn't stick with it. I'll get frustrated and it wouldn't be enjoyable for me. Sustainability and enjoyment for me is extremely important. It's the exact same methodology that I try to preach to my clients because it has to be sustainable. If it's not sustainable and at least a little bit enjoyable, you may lose the weight, but you will not keep it off. Yeah, progress photos are extremely important. Keep asking me all your questions in the comments. I see them right here. So if you have any questions regarding fitness, nutrition, weight loss, maybe weight gain if you're in that kind of phase, let me know down below. And I guarantee you it'll help somebody else out as well that also has these questions. You lost 16 pounds in 5 weeks. That's amazing. Wow. Did I eat bananas in my weight loss journey? I ate everything. Not in the beginning because I was scared of carbs, but once I understood that carbs aren't bad, I ate all fruits. I ate snacks, but not in the beginning because I was scared of carbs. I thought they were bad. Sugar's bad, fruits are bad, and I didn't eat bananas in the beginning. But as soon as I understood that calories are actually a thing, I started to eat more of the things that I want to. If you're not able to work out a lot, but able to walk, how long would you walk for? It depends on you, not on me. If I tell you, I can't tell you how much you should walk. It depends on your physical ability, how much you can tolerate, how sustainable it is for you. So if I walk 10,000 steps a day and you're currently walking 4,000 a day and 5,000 is your limit, maybe walk 5,000 steps. Maybe you don't want to do a step counter. Maybe you want to do a time measurement. Maybe you want to count blocks. You walk 10 blocks today and go back. That could be your measurement. Do what's doable for you. Don't overly exert yourself. Make sure it's manageable. Make sure it's not too much because your goal in mind should be, can I do this again tomorrow with relative ease? If you completely felt destroyed the first time doing this because you walked 18,000 blocks, what's the chance of you actually doing that for the next day? Probably zero. So keep doing things that are sustainable for you. So my recommendation for you is go outside, see how long you want to and can walk for, and replicate that for the next day. If you want to increase it a bit, the following day or the following week, increase it a bit based on your previous, you know, average. That's what I would personally recommend to you. It's embarrassing to admit, but my doctor finally told me my liver is in bad shape. My cholesterol is out of control. I really have to do something about this. It's not easy. It's not easy. I don't know how many of you have seen or heard or whatever about what I said about myself before, but my liver was, I had a very fatty liver, high triglycerides, high blood pressure, I was blood sugar. I was pre-diabetic, and doctor told me point blank, it's a little crazy to say. Maybe he shouldn't have said it, but I'm glad that he did. He said you won't live to 30 unless you change something, because the way I was going was it was not good. So I understand what you're going through now. Our ages might be different, but the internals are they paint a clear picture of what may happen in the future. So the best thing you can do now is not to overthink the process. Don't think about what's the best diet, what's the best food. Is brown rice or white rice the best? Should I eat egg yolks or egg whites? Is chicken or beef better? Don't think about those details. Just generally eat better. Generally go out and go for a short walk, maybe a workout if you want to. Don't think about the details now, because you don't want to experience the paralysis by analysis. I mean, you want to just take action now. Don't wait for tomorrow to start. Don't wait until you Google enough or you search through somebody's videos for information about what you should actually do. Do that later. Do that as you go. But for now, just start generally getting onto the right path by eating better, moving a bit more. Maybe just taking some kind of action, because the people that take action when the picture isn't clear are the ones that see the most amount of success. But people that try to analyze every detail and try to do the best thing ever because they're huge overthinkers end up wasting a lot of valuable time that would amount to a lot of progress had they just started much earlier and not started to analyze all the details. I'm speaking from personal experience. I'm that kind of person. So the best thing to do now is to just take action in as small of a step as you can. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Yeah, I'm super introverted. Do I count my calories? Yeah, I use MyFitnessPal. I count calories and protein. The rest I eat whatever else I want. And I appreciate everybody for being here. How much are my programs? I don't sell programs. There's no copy and paste here. This person gets that, you get that. There's nothing like that. If you want to work with me personally, you can shoot me a message on Facebook or on Instagram. Just say something like "coach me." I'll reach out to you and I'll see exactly if we would even be a good fit to work together. If we are, I'll show you the details. I'll see exactly what you would need, because everybody's going to need a different thing. If you want a copy and pasted program, there's probably thousands of people online that you can just click their thing, buy something, and kind of do by yourself. That's not what I do. I show you what to do, how to do it. There's feedback, there's accountability, there's a whole community of people. I call it the family, where we kind of support each other. There's people that are in very similar shoes, that are all part of the process, the program, and we all kind of uphold each other. So it's a very in-depth thing. There's no programs that I sell kind of like, here, do this by yourself, or eat chicken and broccoli 6 times a day. I don't do that because I don't believe in it. Do I only eat when I'm hungry, or do I eat in schedule so you don't get hungry? Um, that's it's not a personally, it's not one or the other. So I eat when I'm hungry, but I also plan ahead to eat at certain times so I don't get too hungry later on. I'll give you an example. So I don't tell myself I'm going to eat at 8 a.m., 12 p.m., 5 p.m. It's nothing like that. What I do is I make sure not to skip meals throughout the day, because I'm a huge late night eater. If I don't eat enough throughout the day, I'm going to end up eating a whole bunch of food later on. So I make sure to have a decent amount of food throughout the day, spaced out on how I'm feeling. And the biggest thing I do is I make sure my dinner, specifically my dinner, is the largest meal of the day. Doesn't matter if it's at 6 p.m., doesn't matter if it's at 8 or 9 p.m. My dinner personally has to be the biggest meal of the day, because being a huge nighttime eater, nighttime snacker, if my dinner isn't large enough, I'm going to end up snacking after dinner and it will amount to be hundreds of extra calories that didn't fill me up and just pushed me over my caloric limits. That is why my dinner is the biggest meal, because if my dinner is larger, it will keep me fuller for longer and prevent me from eating all the extra calories from snacks. Also, my dinner is as close to bedtime as possible. So if there's 3 hours between dinner and going to sleep, that's 3 hours of snacking I might do. But if there's an hour and a half between dinner and going to sleep, that's an hour and a half of, an hour and a half less I have to snack mindlessly and have a chance to go over my calories. That's what I do. It's a schedule, but it's also not a schedule. It's a guesstimation as far as when I should be eating, but it's also about being proactive and planning not to overeat in the evening. Hopefully that makes any sense. If you have any other questions, just shoot me a question down below. I see it in my chat. How important, Magali asks, is how important is vitamin D for males and females? There's a few supplements that I take on the daily: zinc, vitamin D3, and creatine. That's my non-negotiables. How important is vitamin D3? Well, if you get sufficient sunlight, it's probably not as important for you as somebody that, sits in a shed or something like that, or an attic. If you're working outside all the time, you probably don't need as much vitamin D3 as somebody else that works in a basement or something, or doesn't get much sunlight. I can't tell you how important it is for you. I can tell you that vitamin D3 is important generally. So personally, myself, I don't know if I'm deficient, and I don't know if I get enough. I just take it as a cheap insurance to make sure I'm getting a decent amount of vitamin D3. It's very cheap. I cover my bases. So if there is a possibility of me being deficient before, it's not there now. It's not that difficult to take vitamin D3. It's very beneficial, but you don't know if you're deficient or not unless you go to a doctor, But my levels are always good. They're always at a decent level, so I make sure I keep that constant or average always at a level that makes me feel good. How to curb cravings is to eat more. If you're always having cravings, if you're always snacking on food, ask yourself, are my meals actually filling me up? The chance, well, what I always see people say or tell me is, I'm always snacking. When I ask them, how much are you eating? Well, this was my lunch today. Well, yeah, you're going to be hungry because your lunch was a size, where a toddler might eat. If your lunch was bigger, you wouldn't be snacking as much. So ask yourself, I'll suggest that you ask yourself, how voluminous are my meals? Because if you make every meal larger in size, it will keep you fuller for longer and will not nearly get your cravings up to be as much as if you were eating very small meals. Remember, the biggest and most important factor with weight loss is not how little can I eat and get away with. It's how much can I eat for the right amount of calories in accordance to my goals. Because if your mentality is abundance instead of restriction while meeting your caloric requirements, you're going to do much better. You will not have as many cravings and it will just be a lot easier for you. So it's how much can I eat while being in a calorie deficit instead of how little can I eat and get away with until I kind of lose all control. Because people tend to take the approach of eating as little as possible and hoping that they can kind of survive on that for a little bit. They end up binge eating, overeating at night, saying, screw it, it's not for me because it's way too difficult. And then they feel like a failure because it's not working for them. Well, the reason why they fell off track is because they were eating way too little. You don't want to be in that situation. How much weight should a person lose in a period of a month? Like, is there any minimum or maximum? I can't tell you how much weight you should lose or not lose. I can only tell you that a decently healthy amount of weight loss for the general public is around 0.8 to like 1% of total body weight per week, whatever that means for you. So 0.8% to 1% of total body weight per week. Calculate that, whatever that means for you. And that's like a general rough estimation about a sustainable amount of weight loss that you should be losing on a weekly basis. Wow, Barbara, 30 pounds in 6 months. That's amazing. Congratulations. Do I recommend doing weights first, then cardio, or the other way around? I always recommend doing weights first because you want to put all of your energy on building the muscle because you want to have as much muscle as you can so you can increase your metabolic rate. So I always recommend to take all, unless you want to do 5 or 10 minutes of very light cardio to get some blood going if it's very cold outside. But as a general idea, you always want to hammer out the weights first, give all your energy and efforts onto the weight training, and afterwards, if you want to, do some cardio. Hopefully that explains it. If you have any other questions, just drop a question down below. And if you're getting any value from this video so far, just drop a fire emoji down below in the comments. It helps get more eyeballs on this video, helps more people see this, maybe ask more questions. It just generally helps out the video just a little bit. How can you reduce food intake when you have the metabolism of a slug? How do you reduce food intake when you have the metabolism of a slug? I would first recommend to find out your metabolic rate, your true calorie amount that you maintain your weight on. The only way you can do that is by tracking all the food that you eat for about 2 weeks or so. Every single thing that you eat gets tracked. Once you figure out exactly how many calories you're eating based on the numbers, you will be able to understand what your caloric intake is that helps you maintain your weight. From that point, you can see what two variables can you change to or adjust to start seeing change. You can either increase your caloric output, which is exercise, cardio, stuff like that, or reduce your caloric intake, which is the food that you eat. But until you figure out your maintenance calories, you can't really do any of those things. So I would recommend to track all the food you're eating, maybe in an app like MyFitnessPal, for a couple of weeks and see how your weight fluctuates based on the calories that you're eating. Can I share some of my recipes? Yeah, I definitely make videos with my recipes. I don't have a recipe book. People can keep telling me to make a recipe book, but I just haven't made one yet. I'm thinking of making one. If there is enough request or just desire for me to make one, I'll make one. But as of right now, the only recipes that I have are the ones I give my clients and the recipes that I post on videos and stuff like that. Yeah, carrying food with you is extremely important, especially if you go to work. If you go to work and you're empty-handed, you're just more inclined to eat something else outside because you're hungry and you gotta eat. That's normal. So if you bring food with you to work, or if you go outside for a long road trip, maybe you're going on a flight, maybe you're going out for hours somewhere, maybe on a hike, bring food with you. You're gonna only set yourself up for failure if you don't do that. I appreciate you, David. Thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, crunchy water lettuce is absolutely amazing for keeping you full. Lettuce, kale. I'm not a big fan of kale. I don't think it's that good. But if you like it, definitely any kind of fibrous vegetables that will just go into your stomach, fill you up for the least amount of calories are always beneficial for keeping you full. Let's see some more questions. How do you figure out your calorie needs? You want to lose 2 pounds a week. You can type in TDEE calculator into Google. It will give you a rough estimation about how much you should be eating. It's not going to be pinpoint accurate because it is an estimation, but it's going to be close to it. If you want a very accurate way to see how many calories you should be eating, the most accurate way is to track all the food you're eating and drinking for the course of about 2 weeks or so and see how your weight fluctuates based on the calories you're eating. Once your weight stops fluctuating based on the calories that you're eating, you have found your maintenance. Once you're at your maintenance calories, you can reduce it by about a few hundred calories, maybe 200, 300, 400 calories. The more you reduce it by, the faster you lose weight, which is not always the best thing. You want to start off slow and go from there. But as a general beginner idea, TDEE calculator will give you a rough estimation of how many calories you should be eating. Let's see. What's up, Bev? How do you pack your food when you are out and about? I would recommend a insulated cooler, either a plastic one or maybe one of those cloth ones that have like a foil thing inside. You can throw in a few. They have these frozen plastic squares with like liquid inside that freezes inside a freezer. You can put into your cooler. It'll keep food cold in there. Yogurts, wraps, leftover food that tastes decent if it's not heated up. Bars, if you want, maybe dry protein powder that only takes water to kind of mix up. You don't want to carry around a full made, protein shake. Fruits, definitely. Maybe vegetables if you want to. Leftovers, stuff like that. Make it very simple for yourself. Don't overcomplicate it. Cooked vegetables or raw. I eat both. I eat cooked, frozen, fresh, pickled, roasted. Vegetables are vegetables. And I get a lot of people saying that frozen vegetables aren't healthy. I mean, whoever made that up. Frozen vegetables are actually flash frozen when they're at the peak of their ripeness. So they're actually flash frozen when they're the most nutritious. So you're getting them at the point where they were the most, I guess, pickable, the most ripe vegetables. So they're not bad for you. It's about, I don't know who made that up. The frozen vegetables are just unhealthy. It's completely nonsense. But I eat all kinds of vegetables. Yeah, MyFitnessPal is an app that helps you track your calories. There's a food log in there. There's a whole database of different foods that you can eat. Is it true that hypothyroid patients lose weight much slower? It depends. I mean, if you're medicating with hypothyroid medication, your metabolism may be absolutely fine. But if you're not, it might be a bit slower. So you will just have to take in less calories. It's that's a medical thing that you have to figure out. See if you're taking medication, maybe you're not taking medication, and see where your metabolism is with your hypothyroidism. Because if you got hypothyroid issues right now, it doesn't mean that calories don't matter. It just means that calories matter differently for you. Maybe you have to eat less of it, but calories still matter absolutely. Let's see. Benefits of almond milk instead of skim milk. Is it just taste for you? Yeah, for me, it's just taste. Taste and calories. Almond milk for me is like 30 calories per cup. I put it into my smoothies. Skim milk maybe has a bit more, but skim milk to me doesn't taste that good. I just rather take some almond milk and I put it into my coffee, into my smoothies, and it just tastes for me. You know. Do I recommend protein powder? I do if you don't get enough protein from your nutrition. So nutrition protein should always be first, and protein powder should be left for last because you want to make sure you're eating whole foods. You want to get the sensation of chewing. You want your food to digest as long as possible. But protein powder is not bad. It's actually very beneficial, but it digests pretty easily. So you may want to save that for like a snack or maybe into a smoothie if you don't want to make a whole entire meal. Let's see what else we got here. For someone who's trying to lose weight, do I recommend being on creatine? Creatine is one of the most studied and proven performance enhancing natural supplements that actually works. It's totally up to you. If you work out in the gym, maybe at home with weights, creatine is only going to be beneficial for you. You may gain a few pounds on it, and it's going to be like intracellular water retention inside your muscle, but it's not. It's up to you. I would personally say yes, take it on a weight loss phase because if it gets you stronger, if it gives you more endurance because your muscles can work for a longer period of time before getting fatigued, you may effectively burn more calories, right? But you will gain or retain some water weight. So, which is why if you only look at the scale as the only way to gauge progress and you see it shoot up a couple of pounds because you started taking creatine, excuse me, that will get you off track. But you got to gauge your progress by different factors, you know? So creatine is up to you. Just know that if you start taking it, you will gain some water weight. And as soon as you stop taking it, you will likely get rid of it. But it will, plump up your muscles a little bit, make you look a bit more, jacked. So You didn't realize how many calories you were consuming until you started tracking them. It really is. And one of the biggest, no exaggeration, one of the biggest things that I always see people say is that I'm not losing weight even though I'm not eating anything, which is not true. If you're taking in less energy than your body needs to sustain its weight on, you will lose weight because energy, if your energy input is less than your energy output, you will lose weight. It doesn't work any other way. So what likely happens when people say that I'm eating nothing, but I'm not losing weight is you're not creating a caloric deficit somehow, which is why when you actually start to track your food and you see how much you're eating, you will see that you're likely eating a lot more than you thought you were eating. And then it starts to become very crystal clear about the things you were doing wrong before and what you should change. But until you actually start to track your food consistently for at least a couple of weeks, consistency is the most important thing, not 5 days out of the week. I mean 7 days out of the week with at least 80% accuracy. You can't say that you're not losing weight because you're not eating anything, or you're not losing weight even though you're not eating anything. It doesn't work that way. So you have to track your food, see how much you're eating. And then if you're not losing weight, which likely will not happen because if you see what you're eating and how much you're eating compared to how your weight is fluctuating, you're going to lose weight. There's no other way around it. So don't think that you're not losing weight because some magical thing. You're just likely not realizing how much you're actually eating. Should you count your vegetables and avocado into your calorie count? I personally don't count fibrous vegetables into my calories, like onions, chives, cucumbers, tomatoes, crunchy water, lettuce, spinach, stuff like that, because there's not that many calories in it. I do, or I would absolutely count avocado. It's extremely high in calories from the fats. Yes, it's healthy, and yes, it's very high in calories. I will count potatoes, beans, anything else that has a decent amount of calories. But if like a handful is less than 10, 20 calories, I don't count it. It's going to add more frustration to the whole entire process. But avocado, undoubtedly, yes, all the time. A spoon of guac is a few hundred calories probably, or maybe 150 calories. You definitely want to count that. Even though it's healthy, you still want to count it. And do I recommend artificial sweeteners like Splenda? I get a lot of hate for this, but I absolutely do. Studies have proven that it's not bad for you. It's a myth that people say artificial sweeteners are bad for you. There is no concrete evidence from all the studies that I've seen, and I follow a lot of these studies. Even my drink right here has Crystal Light that has artificial sweeteners. I drink diet soda. It's what I do. And diets, listen, people love to say that artificial sweeteners are bad for you because they heard it somewhere else. Somebody said it's bad for you, so it must be bad for you. My personal friends say that, and it couldn't be further from the truth. It's not true. And the only time where it has proven to be true is when it was hyperdosed in mice or lab rats. Hyperdose, which means they took a whole bunch of this and they just kept injecting them, where if we were to compare it for ourselves, it would be like drinking 10,000 cans of Diet Coke every single day. It's never going to happen. Just because it's, correlated to it doesn't mean it's actually true. It's not true. It's not an idea that you should actually think and to be the absolute. I drink Splenda. I drink calorie-free syrups with my coffee every day. And on top of that, if you replace your sugar foods now, or syrups, or sugar in your coffee, with artificial ones that have no calories, then you will effectively make weight loss easier, which will effectively make you healthier overall. That's the way that you should look at it. I get a lot of hate for that, but I don't care because it's true. And I've been drinking artificial sweeteners for the past probably decade, and I get regular blood work, and it's absolutely great most of the time, unless I'm overeating on vacation or something. How long did it take me to lose 135 pounds? Around 4 years. I lost it in such a long period of time because I made a ton of mistakes in the beginning. I was scared of carbs. I was scared of sugar. I tried keto. I tried every diet detox cleanse there is. I tried working out twice a day continuously. I tried doing tons of cardio, like all these things I tried, and that's why I failed. And my food relationship was absolutely terrible in the beginning. It was not consistent. I was scared of eating French fries. I was scared of eating a slice of pizza to the point where my guilt created such a feeling of wrongdoing that I just kept trying to heal that feeling of guilt with more food. I just said, screw it. I already had a bite of this. I had a slice of pizza. Let me just keep going down this path. And I already screwed up. I just start back again tomorrow. I had no idea that I can actually have pizza in my nutrition and still lose weight. That didn't click to me. And that's why it took me around 4 years. And I say that proudly because I made a ton of mistakes. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I lost it in 12, 18 months. I know people that do that. That's amazing for them, but that wasn't me. Your biggest issue was always eating consistently, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. Yeah, consistency in eating properly, not properly, but in accordance with your food goals is important, because what a lot of people do is they eat inconsistently, they skip meals, and they end up overeating in the evening, and then they wonder, why am I not losing weight? What you effectively do when you do that is you starve yourself or eat the bare minimum for 3 quarters of the day, but the last quarter of the day you just binge eat uncontrollably, and that will put you in an overall average caloric surplus that you need, to gain weight. Whereas if you were to eat more consistently throughout the day, you will likely not overeat in the evening because you don't want to eat that much. You've already been eating throughout the entirety of the day. And that will help you create a caloric deficit that you want to be in. If you want a good protein powder, somebody, Jose asks me, you can use a Legion Athletics protein powder. You can use Alex Solo for a 20% discount code if you want it. I have no link for it, but if you want to Google Legion Athletics whey protein, there's a cinnamon cereal flavor that I have right now. It's really, really good. Give it a shot. As far as creatine, any kind of monohydrate creatine, do not get the HCl creatine. It's a complete waste of money. It actually it's like a marketing thing where they tell you, oh, you got to take more of this to absorb it faster, and you end up just eating, or not eating, consuming the tub faster for the same benefit that you would have gotten from creatine monohydrate. Don't buy into that whole marketing thing. It's nonsense. Any kind of creatine monohydrate, 5 grams a day, done. What are my feelings on protein bars? Not a big fan. Maybe it's surprising to hear, but I don't like protein bars. A lot of them leave a bad aftertaste. To me, that's just tastes pretty gross. Protein bars for me are like a very, very once in a blue moon kind of thing. So if I'm in a car going for a long trip, maybe I get a protein bar. Maybe I don't know, going somewhere for a long period of time, grab a protein bar, pour it into my bag, and just so I have something on me. But as far as me actually eating them on a regular, consistent basis, I never. I mean, rarely. Is stevia better? If it tastes better to you, I like Splenda. People hate Splenda. If you like stevia more, drink stevia. It's just what is more sustainable for you, what you enjoy doing more or drinking more. Some people like monk fruit. I've never had it, but I heard it's amazing. Go for it. Yeah, I've yet to try a liquid monk fruit, but once I see it, I give it a shot. Yeah, it was actually over 4 years I lost my weight. I can't really remember how long, but it was between 4 and 5 years because I made a lot of mistakes. I yo-yoed for a long time. I plateaued. Um, but it is what it is. Is it necessary to eat at breakfast, or can you fast until noon? Breakfast for you is relevant to you. Some people love eating breakfast. Some people don't like eating breakfast. Personally, I don't like eating breakfast because I'm never hungry in the morning. It's just the way that I am. So I typically start eating, I don't know, early lunch, around a lunchtime. It's totally up to you. Breakfast is not necessary to start your metabolism, or your metabolism is always going. It's what you want to do. Don't feel forced to eat at specific times of the day because it's not that necessary. What flavors of Crystal Light do I like? This is pink lemonade. It's okay. The peach one tastes pretty good. If you have any other questions, shoot me a question down below. If you're getting any value from this video so far, drop a fire emoji down below so I know you actually, this is actually helping you out. I eat the nut-based protein bars. Yeah, most protein bars are pretty gross, I'll be honest. I haven't tried one that I actually like. Any thoughts on intermittent fasting? I've done intermittent fasting for years on and off, primarily because I am a huge nighttime snacker and because I don't like breakfast. Is it necessary or was it magical? Absolutely not. Intermittent fasting just helps you create a caloric deficit by a time window or a time reduction. So if you can't eat before 12 and after 8, you effectively reduce your window of opportunity to eat, which will help you be within your caloric deficit. That's it. There's no magic about it. There's no, especially if you train in the mornings, intermittent fasting is probably not for you because you not have any energy because you haven't eaten anything. But if it suits your schedule, if you can see yourself doing this for a long period of time, do it. It might help you out, but it is not magical and it's not necessary. What do I drink besides water? Water seasonings. I drink coffee and Coke Zero and almond milk. I'm pretty plain. I appreciate you, Jose. Thank you for being here. Yeah. Fruit Punch Crystal Light is amazing. Hopefully this is giving everybody here some value. Any other questions? Let's take one more question down below and before we get off. I appreciate everybody for being here. I know definitely, if you ask me a question, it guaranteed to help somebody else that may also have this question but just doesn't want to ask it. Thoughts on macros 40-40-20 rule. It's a very generic rule. If it works for you, I would say to eat around 1 gram of lean body weight per protein, and the rest of the calories fill in with whatever carbs and fats you want to. It's not that serious as long as you get adequate amount of protein in and you meet your caloric requirements. That is it. You've noticed artificial sweeteners bother you, so do I know any natural sweeteners for water enhancers? I think monk fruit, a lot of people recommend monk fruit over here. My clients recommend that. Mio, I think it's pretty good. Stevia, if you don't like Splenda or the blue pouch packets, try monk fruit. I think it's actually pretty good. First thing I eat in the morning, probably a Greek yogurt or my egg scramble if it's later on in the morning. But usually a yogurt because it's very, very easily accessible and it tastes pretty good. How much protein should women eat per day? Anywhere from 0.8 to like 1 gram of lean body weight. Yeah, 0.8 to 1. The details don't matter as much. If you generally eat more protein, you do just fine. The details don't matter. Around 0.8 to 1 gram of lean body weight. That's it. Cool. So hopefully this was helpful for everyone here today. And I appreciate everybody for being here. And I'll see you next time.